some factions that say we got to go blow ourselves up, and that's obviously
some
wrong.
factions of Christianity that are like that too, right?
The 100%, absolutely, in America, right?
And I guarantee you, if we were being invaded and attacked, there'd probably be some radical fundamentalist Christians that would want to do the same thing. How do you know this? Where are you getting this from? Like, too much of it is applicable.
Right.
Like, they knew too much about human. There's so much weird. There's so much knowledge in there. There's so much. They had so much of an understanding of human nature and how to get along peacefully with each other, and what are the principles of harmony?
Right.
Like, what are the rules that you can have to have a society function in a beautiful way?
Bro, just think about it though. Like, what other than the creator would be the one to be able to make mankind, who's like in this time of war, just killing each other back and forth, no peace whatsoever? And he makes everyone relax and start treating each other with respect and with love and with peace. Come on now.
Guys, look the delusion in this dude's eyes. Look the delusion. Okay, it's like he's in love. He's in love with Islam. Peaceful. How can I? Okay, let's start the video.
Assalamu alaikum. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction.
Islam originally was they were scientists, man. I mean, if you look at the early Islamic world, they were the ones that were the most advanced at one point in history. They were the ones that were pushing mathematics and science and reason and logic. You know, it's just it comes in cycles, man. It comes in cycles of suppression and dominance, and you know, the real concern is unstoppable dictatorships like China and Russia, and when there's no dissent and no discussion.
Joe Rogan made 2 points. Both of them were incredibly stupid. A, he said, he made a reference to Islamic history when the Muslim world was the center of scientific development, and implied that therefore Islam is not antithetical to science and development. Yet, Joe Rogan bases his argument on wrong facts, on half-truths. And therefore, his conclusion was the complete opposite of truth. Ancient Greeks said, η ημιμάθεια είναι χειρότερη από την αμάθεια. Half learning is worse than ignorance. So, let's see what is actually the truth.
And around that period, that 300-year period, the intellectual center of the world was Baghdad. Baghdad. It was completely open to all visitors, all travelers, Jews, Christians, doubters, which today we might call atheists. They were all there exchanging ideas. All of them. All of them. And it was that period where you had the advances in, like, engineering and biology and medicine and mathematics. All right? Our numerals are called what? Arabic numerals. They ever stop and think about that? You know, who as in America, do we take pause at this? Why are they called Arabic numerals? Okay, they fully exploit the discovery of the zero, create a whole field called algebra, itself an Arabic word. Algorithm is an Arabic word. All this is going on, and it's all traceable, not to some long 1,000-year tradition in Islam. It's traceable to this 300-year period. This 300-year period. So navigation, celestial navigation, all of this is traceable to this period. And so something happened. And what happened, as was previously described, I was told, and forgive me for repeating from what you might have heard, 12th century kicks in, and then you get the influence of this scholar, Al-Ghazali, all right? And so out of his work, you get the philosophy that mathematics is the work of the devil. And nothing good can come of that philosophy. That, combined with other sort of codification, philosophical codifications of what Islam was and would become, the entire intellectual foundation of that enterprise collapsed, and it has not recovered since.
Did you catch that, Joe Rogan? Islam was the reason the Islamic golden era collapsed. fundamental Islam ended science and development in the Muslim world. And yet, that's the complete opposite of what you implied. All the great Muslim scientists were heretics. They were secularists. The Mutasilites, the rationalists, the translation movement.
I wanted you to just briefly go over each one of them, but just as you just finished off this part here, one of the contentions which Hoot Boy makes, said his name, and others have made, is that even if we look at the main figures, right, if they were Mutazilites, they were definitely heretics.
One of the most comprehensive thinkers was Al-Farabi, who made enormous contributions to physics, chemistry, mathematics, and psychology. He also excelled in philosophy, ethics, and music. For his wide range of accomplishments, Al-Farabi is known as the second master after Aristotle. Another brilliant mind was Al-Haytham, who wrote extensively about astronomy, mathematics, optics, and visual perception. He established the modern scientific method and thereby became the first legitimate scientist in history. The Golden Age also saw advances in medicine thanks to Ibn Sina, whose work remained in use for the following 6 centuries. Yet many of the great minds of the Islamic Golden Age were also fierce critics of the literal interpretation of the Quran. For instance, Al-Biruni, who calculated that the earth revolved around the sun and rotated on its axis, challenged the literal creed of Ibn Hanbal by insisting that it was essential to question everything from religion to philosophy. The irrational position was shared by Al-Razi, who was a scholar of Da Vinci's magnitude and once argued that Islam without reason had no value. Then there was Khayyam, one of the most influential thinkers of the Middle Ages. He was a fierce patron of humanism and expressed secular ideas in opposition to the design of Sharia law. Another leading scholar was Ibn Rushd, who advocated for the emancipation of women and stressed that matters of belief should be decided only on the basis of reason and evidence. It was clear that the Mutazilites were fighting back against orthodox theology. However, the political circumstances were not in their favor.
Islam originally was they were scientists, man. I mean, if you look at the early Islamic world, they were the ones that were the most advanced at one point in history. They were the ones that were pushing mathematics and science and reason and logic. You know, it's just it comes in cycles, man. It comes in cycles of suppression and dominance, and you know the real concern is unstoppable dictatorships like China and Russia, and when there's no dissent and no discussion.
Yet Islam inspires for a theocratic dictatorship. Joe Rogan, please stop talking, my friend. My brain molecules are going downfall. Every word you say, my friend.
I've got a lot of friends who are Arabs. I spent a lot of time in the Middle East. I love them. They're awesome. There are some.
Okay. All right, bro. Straight up, I gotta chime in. Anytime somebody says that I got a lot of friends that are Arabs, or I have a lot of friends that are black, it just, come on, bro. Like nothing good. You guys peep that or no?
Yeah. And it's funny because he didn't say a lot of Muslim friends. He said a lot of Arab friends. Like the
what?
two are interchangeable.
Some factions that say we got to go blow ourselves up, and that's obviously
some
wrong.
Some factions of Christianity that are like that too, right?
100%, absolutely, in America, right?
And I guarantee you, if we were being invaded and attacked by Muslims all the time, it'd probably be some radical fundamentalist Christians that would want to do the same thing,
right?
That some Muslim sects have done.
That was Was he defending Muslims?
Bro, I honestly think he was. Subhanallah.
This is an utterly shameful whitewash of Islamic terrorism. Okay, we didn't hope any better from young Muslims. Young Muslims have no potential to ever hope for any difference. Unfortunately, every new generation of Muslims becomes more deluded, zealot, blind sheep, without any intellectual integrity. But you, Joe Rogan, you should be ashamed of yourself for playing on this dangerous narrative. This narrative is directly responsible for deaths in the million and immense suffering in this world. As I said, we didn't expect any better from Muslims. Muslims are always ready to throw humanity under the bus so they can whitewash Islam and have an extra moment of happiness in their delusion. But you, Joe Rogan, you should be ashamed of yourself. The notion that Islamic terrorism is about grievances and not about ideology is meant to short-term appease Muslim feelings and promote in the process Islam in the face of supporting and advancing terrorism and in sequence wars, etc. We know, of course, Islamic terrorism has nothing to do with grievances. It's directly driven from Islamic ideology. We know exactly, step by step, the history of Islamic terrorism and what causes it. In contradiction to young Muslim, obviously the rest of the world don't need 1,000 years to make a connection, 1 + 1 = 2. Okay. In contradiction to Muslims, the rest of the world actually investigates and doesn't need to mental masturbate to always pretend Islam is true and good. Okay, so the rest of the world doesn't necessarily need to always masturbate and pretend Islam is true, and we can rationally see the evidence. And we did. For example, we know that Muslims are the least prosecuted religious group in the world as we speak. The most prosecuted religious group are Christians, by far. Second are Jews. Third are atheists. And lastly are Muslims. Yet, Muslims account for something like 99.7% of terrorism. In the 90s, and just after 9/11, when nobody knew in the West anything about Islam, people thought that terrorism has to do with grievances, projecting a Western mindset to explain this behavior. Now, of course, we know that Islamic terrorism has nothing to do with grievances. It's directly driven by Islamic ideology. We know exactly the Muslim Brotherhood ideology of Osama bin Laden, for example, and why he did what he did. We know exactly what made the Taliban. Since then, we have traced step by step the ideology that creates terrorism from its very roots, following step by step with very deep analytical accuracy, with very deep analysis. We know step by step what happened in this date, who knew who talked with who was the teacher of who. Okay, we know every step of the way. Osama bin Laden, for example, knew exactly what was coming after attacking USA, and that was his plan all along. Martyr couple of million of Muslims, so we can polarize Muslims against the West and bring back the Islamic world order. Osama bin Laden, my friend, would have died laughing with your narrative. That is all about grievances. What grievances did Osama bin Laden had? What model he will date next Friday? What grievances did he had? Hamas, take another example. Hamas seeks and orchestrates Palestinian suffering to have a pretext to keep attacking Israel, to take control of the Holy Land. That is the goal, to take control of the Holy Land. It's not Palestinian suffering. Okay. In fact, Islamists seek and orchestrate Muslim grievances to rally people behind political Islam. Hizb ut-Tahrir, for example, even admits, I have seen videos, guys, Hizb ut-Tahrir members practically admitting that we must use the Palestinian issue to rally Muslims and bring back the caliphate. This is a good opportunity. This is what they say in videos. Okay. Hizb ut-Tahrir will use Palestinian suffering to bring back the caliphate. This is what they care about. They don't give a rat's ass about the suffering of Palestinians. In fact, if you see what they suggest, they are suggesting Muslim armies to attack Israel. If that happens, a couple of million Muslims will die, at the very least. Okay, so how do they care about Muslim grievances? No, they care to bring back the caliphate.
ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون.
Hizb ut-Tahrir, that is an organization dedicated to achieving the Khalifa, the Caliphate, and rule the world under Islamic law.
They want global Islamic domination. One influential group that preaches exactly that is Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Muslimske organisation Hizb ut-Tahrir kan...
Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Branch of Hizb ut-Tahrir. That's a movement.
Det var organisationen Hizb ut-Tahrir, der...
Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Hizb ut-Tahrir, an Islamic group.
Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Hizb ut-Tahrir is the name of the group, of course.
Hizb ut-Tahrir bliver hjernevask.
Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Hizb ut-Tahrir ingin mempersatukan kalian di bawah daulah khilafah. Insyaallah dengan izin Allah Subhanahu wa taala kita akan dipersatukan oleh Allah Subhanahu wa taala.
Are not the rulers that are going to solve the problem. And even those that give lip service to the issue, even those that some people believe are going to solve the problems, every single one of them, without exception, accept the right of the occupation to exist in a part of Palestine. So when they talk of a two-state solution, they are talking about allowing, legalizing forever the occupation of that land.
Jazakallah khair. I want a very brief message to the Muslim youth in schools here and abroad, that you are the golden generation, because you are the generation that has the zeal and the energy, you have the passion, you have the drive, you have the desire, and you have the time to actually cause and effect change. And the Prophet ﷺ had the same golden individuals. They had youth around him, surrounded him, who helped him carry his message for Islam, which established a state for Islam, that then went on to defend the Muslims globally and non-Muslims and give rights to everyone. You are in the same age bracket, you have the same qualities. What you need to therefore do is to briefly carry 3 points.
There are two narratives relating to Islamic terrorism. First is the true narrative, the Islamist agenda, true agenda. Goal: undermine the domination of Western civilization globally and replace it with the Islamic world order. Means to achieve that: orchestrate and use Muslim suffering to achieve the necessary polarization of Muslims against the West, and in sequence rally them to fight the West and bring about the Islamic world order. That's the true narrative. Then we have the fake narrative. Goal: peace in this world, fighting Western imperialism, bigotry and racism that create inevitable phenomena like terrorism. Means: educate and civilize the West to not be racist and bigots and do not drink the blood of Muslims for oil and power. Focus on my words, what I say now. Muslims, as we speak in this world, are the less prosecuted religious group. Let me repeat that. Muslims, as we speak in this world, are the less persecuted religious group. The most persecuted religious group is Christians. My friend, in the Middle East, Christians are persecuted in genocidal levels. Then is Jews. Jews, my friend, in the Middle East are like unicorns. I saw a Jew and then I saw a unicorn. Then are atheists. Okay, then are atheists, and lastly are Muslims. Muslims, as we speak, are the less persecuted religious group. Yet, terrorism is like 99.7 Islamic. How you explain this statistic? The less persecuted group has 99.7 terrorism. How can you explain that with grievances, my friend? So Joe Rogan, who says that if Christians are being attacked, then we will see Christian radical. That's not true, my friend. That's not true. In fact, we have seen that. Christians are persecuted. As we speak, my friend, in the Muslim world, Christians, they stab Christians in the streets, my friend. Is that grievances or not, maybe? How about Christians being crucified, my friend? In the Middle East, crucified. How about gays being thrown out of buildings? Is that grievances? Or only Bin Laden had the grievances? Bin Laden had the grievances. Going to Mykonos and drinking champagne with strawberries. And choosing what model I will have sex with the next Friday. That is the grievances, and Christians don't have grievances. Okay, it has nothing to do with grievances. You can still believe this. What can I say, my friend? Keep believing it. It's grievances, okay. I have seen how ISIS recruit. I have seen the process in videos. Do you know Go Live Media? He's a radical himself. Okay, I have seen a video that was Go Live Media and a couple of his friends, and I have seen an ISIS recruiter how he attempted to radicalize them. Fortunately, he didn't achieve that, but I've seen the argument he said. It was all about scriptures. He also mentioned some grievances, but that was sound bites, okay? To cover the real reason we have Islamic terrorism, which is 100% ideology. It's not grievances.
This was a change of pace, bro, from his usual. Because, bro, there's a bias that we're gonna get into at the end, but Joe Rogan's been known for only bringing ex-Muslims and Islamophobes to speak about the deen, not someone like Muhammad Hijab that can just say it as it is.
Yeah.
But have y'all noticed that anytime he has a guest on, his expression changes, like his personality kind of just shifts and molds to whoever he's talking to?
Yeah,
So,
I think that's
Oh
a part of being a
yeah,
good
I know what
host.
you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, like he'll talk to someone who's an Islamophobe and then be like, yo, like what the hell? Like what are these people doing? But then he'll talk to someone who's about Islam and he's like, yo, like I think it's crazy that they did this, and that. And so I think he intuitively understands, and I think everyone else intuitively understands that Muslims aren't what the West has made us out to be. Where it's like if we were, bro, the whole world would be done.
That is true. That is true.
Facts, bro.
It would have been
Facts.
done a long time ago too.
Yeah, real talk.
My friend, political Islam demonize you, my friend. Your problem is internal, my friend. How can you not see this, my friend? How can you not see this, my friend? It's remarkable to me. This is remarkable. ISIS demonize you. Okay. Hizb ut-Tahrir demonize you. Ali Dawa demonize you. When he says that, yeah, we should execute apostate and who cares? These people demonize you. Terrorists demonize you. That take buses and run over people.
I'll see you later. Bye, babe.
What are those people gonna do? All the elevators are blocked out.
Oh my God. So.
According to the three Muslims, this has nothing to do, absolutely zero to do with some people not liking Islam very much. This has nothing to do with it. Okay, so the exclusive reason people don't like Islam very much, they have some negative feelings against Islam, is bigots and racists like Robert Spencer. So obviously to fight Islamophobia, you need to support political Islam. This will solve the problem of Islamophobia. What else can we do? Except bring in our podcast Daniel Hakikatsu.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, are you looking for the truth? Are you looking for answers? Or are you just trying to prove your point? And if you are just trying to prove your point, then that's like straight ego. Because at that point, like if you're proven wrong, then you can't step down.
At the end of the day, you three Muslims, you praised Hakikatsu, a person that said that offensive jihad is justified to enforce to the world Sharia like the UN can enforce human rights. That is at the end of the day. Okay.
Hondo. All right, let's get into the second clip.
You had a time machine, sit down with the very people who were trying to figure out how to write this stuff down.
Yeah.
And that this is important information to pass on to
Right.
other people. Like, how do you know this? Where are you getting this
Right.
from? Like, too much of it is applicable.
Right.
Like, they knew too much about human. There's so much weird. There's so much knowledge in there. There's so much. They had so much of an understanding of human nature and
Yeah.
how to get along peacefully with each other, and what are the principles of harmony?
Right.
Like, what are the rules that you can have to have a society function in a beautiful way?
Well, do unto others as you would have them
Yeah.
do unto you.
Yeah.
That's pretty good wisdom.
Right. For people that were literally tooth and claw.
That summarizes life. Like, know that piece of wisdom and live your life that way.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in pretty good shape. Everybody would be pretty good shape if everybody lived by that.
Bro, just think about it though. Like, what other than the creator would be the one to be able to make mankind, who's like in this time of war, just killing each other back and forth, no peace whatsoever. And he makes everyone relax and start treating each other with respect and with love and with peace. Come on now.
Yeah.
It's almost like him saying literally that how could they know all this? There's too much. It's like you're sub-communicating that it's not logical that a man would have revelation just out of thin air.
So according to this insane person, the evidence for the truth of Islam, the miracle of Islam, okay, so that is the miracle of Islam. It bends the laws of nature. So if you want to understand why Islam is true, is because it makes people exceptionally peaceful. How else? If it wasn't for God, from God, how else Islam makes people so peaceful? How else? If it wasn't from God. It's a miracle. Okay, so Islam makes people so peaceful that it's a miracle. It bends the laws of nature. Okay, so how else can you explain Islam making people so peaceful other than God gave Islam? How else can you explain that? Cuckoo! How can you answer this kind of insanity? Okay, he's just a deluded maniac. Okay, maniac. He's insane. Okay, so how can I respond to this? How can I respond to this? The only way I can respond is take my phone and call an ambulance. But I don't know the address to call the ambulance. Come and take him to a mental institute. They are deluded completely. Okay. Muslims, guys, have zero. Let me repeat that. Zero. Self-reflect. Zero. Okay. Even insane people in mental institutes have 5% self-reflect. Muslims have zero. Even 16-year-old girls, sweet 16s, have 5%, 6% self-reflect. Muslims have zero. Okay? Zero self-reflect. Why is that? Because Islam claims to be perfect. If you ask these maniacs, do you think any Muslim ever did a bad thing in all human history? They will say no. Literally. Okay, if you go and ask this person, do you think any Muslim ever did something wrong in all human history? They will say no. No, nobody. The Quran is perfect. Okay, very perfect. Not even a dot has changed. Muhammad was the perfect husband. Guys, I recently saw a video that amazed me the most, even more than saying that Muhammad was a good person. They said Muhammad was the perfect husband. A polygamist who cheated his wives, who then used Allah to threaten his wives, what can I say? That had sex with sex slaves, that threatened to divorce his wife because his wife was getting fat. This kind of person that had 11 wives, that unadulterated, muta, prostitution. And these people say that Muhammad was the perfect husband. Not just a good husband, but the perfect. A miracle of a husband. Okay, so we are talking about insane people. Insane. Okay, guys, thank you very much. See you in the next video.